It has now been just about 2 months since the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, and for better or for worse, it's here to stay. So today I wanted to make a video just documenting my experience so far, how I found a couple of the games, the console itself, and just the overall Switch 2 experience. And perhaps then I can help someone decide if they're going to buy a Switch 2, or if they're not going to buy a Switch 2. Either way, that's a win-win. So first off, let's just talk about the dimension size difference. So I've had my original Switch since it launched back in 2017, and by some miracle I actually never experienced Joy-Con drift either. So upgrading from that very slow old Switch to a brand new bigger console has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, the size difference is quite impressive. The screen size on the original Switch is like 6.2 inches, and on Switch 2 it's 7.9, so quite a big jump. The console size itself is obviously also a couple of inches bigger, so overall I do appreciate the larger size. The new Joy-Cons are a, well, joy to hold, and they're much nicer than the old ones, they don't make my thumbs hurt, and I absolutely love the magnetic click in and out, it's very satisfying. The jump up in video output quality is greatly appreciated as well, with the original Switch in handheld mode only getting 720p, and in docked mode getting 1080, whereas with the Switch 2 in handheld it's 1080, and when docked you can go up to 4K. With HDR, but I do recommend turning that feature off unless it's for games that are specifically compatible, because it can make some old Switch games look a bit weird. I do just have to acknowledge that whilst the battery life is not ideal, it is a much more powerful console, so I can forgive it somewhat, and thankfully I'm not travelling around too much at the moment, so I'm mainly playing in docked mode anyway. And the other thing I do want to acknowledge in this video, and I'm not going to make it the main talking point because it's been covered so much already, but it is an expensive console. Now, I was lucky enough to have been able to save up for a while before the price was even announced, because I knew the console was coming. I thought I'll save up and get it. So that's the only reason I've been able to get it, and I'm grateful for the fact that I have. So anyway, let's move on. So when you first boot up your Switch 2, you're greeted with a very similar menu design. In fact, it's practically identical. There's a nice little animation that plays at the start, as well as a nice little jingle to go with it. But unfortunately that is the last time you'll ever see that, because it doesn't do it whenever you turn it on. I suppose they say if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but it would have been nice to see some more character in the Switch 2's menu, but oh well. Now, before we go any further, if you're a fan of Nintendo content or just gaming in general, then why not hit that subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications to stay up to date with my future uploads. And anyway, let's move on with the video. So the two games that I have spent the most time with are obviously Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. But before I talk about those, there are a couple of other games that I have been playing on my Switch 2 that are not Switch 2 games, and that is Pikmin 4 and Pokemon Unite. Two very different titles. Now, Pikmin 4 actually ran surprisingly well on the original Switch, considering how nice it looks and how intensive it can be at times. And I'm pleased to say on the Switch 2, it just runs a bit nicer. There's no frame rate drops, and that's pretty much all I can say. It looks a bit more vibrant. If you haven't played Pikmin 4, I would highly recommend picking it up because it's absolutely fantastic, and the Switch/Switch 2 is the first time that we've had all 4 games available on one console. You got the 1 and 2 bundle, the 3 port from the Wii U, and 4. Play them. Fantastic games. Now, Pokemon Unite, on the other hand, that's a whole other ballgame. The game runs absolutely horribly on the original Switch. All the menus lag, all the loading screens lag, everything except sometimes in the game lags. In fact, for quite some time, if you wanted to play Pokemon Unite, it was probably better to play it on your phone than on the Switch. Anyway, I am pleased to report that that is no longer a problem. Yippee, the menus don't lag anymore. That's such a special thing to have on a brand new console. All sarcasm aside, it is actually quite nice to just be able to play the game without it lagging and freezing every 5 seconds. Unfortunately, the game itself is sadly locked to 30 FPS in handheld mode still, and hopefully there'll be an update at some point that might change that, and docked mode is still locked at 60. So at least that's not so bad. But enough about Switch 1 games, let's talk about the Switch 2 games. And no, I did not buy Welcome Tour, and I will not be buying Welcome Tour. I will happily save that $7.99 to spend on literally anything else. Anyway, so let's start with Mario Kart World, because that came out first. The game looks amazing. I love these new cartoony styles for the Mario characters. I don't care what other people say, new Donkey Kong looks great too. And I'm absolutely loving the wall jumping and grinding that's now available. I think it's super fun, and adds a new level of skill-based gameplay to Mario Kart. The roster is pretty damn good, although I do wish they'd display the characters better, because when you unlock costumes, they just have the costumes as separate characters. Surely you should just be able to select the character and then select the costume afterwards. Maybe that's just me, but I think the menu design for that instance isn't that great. However, ignoring the shoddy menu design, the game itself is chaos. Normal cups are a lot of fun, but the game shines the most in Knockout Tour. Oh my god, it's so chaotic. I haven't even got to play it online yet, but even offline, it's so much fun. Whilst I haven't spent much time in the open world so far, I have been quite enjoying a few of the little challenges scattered throughout, such as collecting blue coins, going through so many hoops, doing a few laps of an open world area. It's pretty cool. It's not quite as good as the Mario Kart DS challenge mode, but it's better than nothing. It's quite fun just driving around, finding little secrets, like those peach coins, or the question mark panels. What I have also enjoyed about the game is that because I'm trying to unlock all the different character costumes, it's meant that I haven't just been maining one character like I did on 8 Deluxe. On 8 Deluxe, I would religiously only play as Wiggler once they added him in, originally only playing as Villager, whereas this time I've spent time with Mario, Luigi, Waluigi, Bowser, Wario, Peach, King Boo, just a bunch of different characters that I probably wouldn't have played as before, but because I want to get all the different costumes and see what the game has to offer, I have been. Now, there has been a big debate about whether or not the intermission tracks are any good, and I'm more on the side of, they're okay, but I shouldn't be forced to play them if I don't want to. I didn't like that Nintendo updated the game and then made it even harder to avoid the intermission tracks. They're not horrible, don't get me wrong, but there's certain tracks that I'd like to play in cups for more than one lap, rather than just driving across the world doing one lap and moving on. It just seems a bit strange that Nintendo spent all this time making these cool tracks, and then during cups, only one of the 4 tracks that you play you can actually do more than one lap on. I don't know, bit strange. Maybe they'll change it eventually, but the fact that they updated it to make it even more awkward suggests to me that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Anyway, overall, I have enjoyed my time with Mario Kart World so far, and I look forward to playing some more. Okay, so let's talk about the newer of these two Switch 2 releases, and that is Donkey Kong Bonanza. Oh man, this game is absolutely fantastic. I've only spent about 5 hours with it so far in between doing my other videos, and it's so much fun. It's borderline addictive. I get a nice little dopamine release every time I hear that banana sound effect. The game looks absolutely gorgeous. I love the Donkey Kong model. The worlds are all super colourful and interesting, the enemies are fun, the combat is satisfying, and oh my god, it's so satisfying to just pick stuff off of the ground, rip parts of the ground off, smash things with it. It is just very satisfying to my very simple brain. Just trying to connect the timeline here, but I'm guessing Donkey Kong Bonanza is a prequel to Mario Odyssey, because in Odyssey, Pauline is obviously the mayor of New Donk City. I don't know, maybe I'm deeping this way too much, but I just thought about it. Anyway, hopefully now we're entering a new era of Donkey Kong games, because the Switch 1 literally just had Donkey Kong Country Returns remastered, kind of, at the end, and then Tropical Freeze ported from the Wii U in the beginning, and then that was kind of it, nothing else. So it's nice to see a game that's actually new and original, and isn't just a port or a remaster of a different Donkey Kong game. Now, I'm not going to give any further in-depth review of either this or Mario Kart World, because it's still early days for me yet. I just wanted to make a video sharing my experience so far, to hopefully help some of you guys out, and just because I love talking about games. So anyway, at the point of recording this video, there's been no announced Nintendo Direct yet, so here's to hoping that by the time this video releases, it's either been one, or it's coming soon. Anyway, have any of you guys got the Nintendo Switch 2 yet? If you have, what games have you been playing? Are you enjoying it? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't got one yet, or if you aren't getting one at all, let me know in the comments as well, and just share your thoughts and feelings. Just keep it friendly. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe and tap that bell for notifications of my future uploads. I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.